Hey, today's Tuesday, September the 30th.
I'm Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
I'm Jeff in Napa, California.
And I'm Robert Taylor in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hey, I'm Duke Carrico, and on this edition of Tech and Coffee's Android Journal, the OnePlus is going to continue to be a special order device for quite a while. Hey, guess what's coming to Chrome OS? That's right, gang, Photoshop. And is Microsoft finally ready to compete with Google's Chrome? Hey, all this, our apps, and more. Hey, panel, welcome to episode 75 of Android Journal.
All right.
That's amazing, huh?
Yeah, man. 75 episodes. So, how's everybody's week going, man?
I've been very successful.
Well, how successful has it been, Robert?
I've been very successful. I used my new printer. We got our custom postmark, and we ordered our embossing machine. Bring on Christmas. We're ready.
All right, man. Kids believe letters. Yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. Right. So, hey, guys, let's get into the Android news, and I'm going to be honest with you. This week, we're pretty heavy on the Chrome stuff and Chrome OS, but first of all, let's just go ahead. Let's talk about OnePlus. You know, OnePlus, man, it came along. Everybody got so excited about this device. You look at the stats of this thing, it's just incredible. But guess what, man? They're having trouble meeting these orders, and now they're saying, hey, you know, these invites that we've been doing, well, we're going to continue doing them into 2015 because, guys, they're just not set up to meet the demand. And I think what a lot of us saw originally as, hey, you know, this is a new device. It's going to change the whole model of how you buy your phone because you're going to get this incredible phone for just a little bit of money. And, guys, things aren't looking good. So, hey, Robert, go ahead and throw me your thoughts against this device, man.
Well, you know, the fact that the demand is so high shows that people want to do, how they want to purchase phones in the future. A good device at a reasonable price. Now, were they a little short-sighted? Did they not expect it? Well, if you come out the gate saying, we're going to change the way you buy a phone, then you should have expected it. You know, the very problem you're trying to address is how people buy phones, and you got to meet the demand so that they can buy the phone.
They said that they missed it over 30 times, okay? I mean, that's a pretty large number there. But, Jeff, I want to give you a chance here because, hey, man, we've seen Google run out of Nexus devices in the Play Store before, right?
Yeah, but this is completely different. You know, this is where they can't even ramp up to meet demands. They can't even hire people to meet demand. They can't order inventory to meet demand. It's not like they're ready for business. It's really more like it's a startup company who didn't figure it out, and you know, they should have anticipated this a little bit more, at least to have some kind of a better way of marketing it, other than, oh, you know, hey, we missed it by 30 times, you know, and oh, by the way, you know, our next phone that we're coming out with is going to have the same problem as this phone. You know, it's going to be invite only, and you're going to have to wait, and then people are selling invites, you know, for $20 versus $1 on eBay and things like that. So it's just kind of it doesn't bode well. It doesn't. If they can't handle this, how are they going to handle the other end of, like, customer support issues and things like that?
I think you make very good points. You say that the OnePlus is really just because they can't meet demand. It's a niche phone, and are they ever going to recover?
Well, they're going to recover, but the problem is they might overshoot, right? And that means management is not smart enough to scale correctly. So what happens when the orders do not meet? Then they have to, you know, let people go. I mean, it's not. I don't know if their business model, they thought it all the way through to a point where they can scale up and scale down as needed.
I guess what really gets me about this is all of this came to light on a Reddit Ask Me Anything, and the dude's talking here, you know, about the OnePlus 2 Okay, and then he even hints about OnePlus wearables. Okay, I mean, man, if you can't even produce a phone that to meet demand, should you focus on the next phone or your wearable?
Well, they're obviously not focusing on the infrastructure and the scalability, so you kind of wonder about that aspect. And it doesn't mean that they won't overcome it. It just means that they didn't do a very good job coming out of the box. And that's usually when you get your market share and biggest bang, word of mouth, all that stuff is when it's successful.
I would offer two things. One, the longer it takes for them to get this out, new phones are going to be coming on the market, because the title is OnePlus AMA, and yes, that stands for Ask Me Anything, but in this case it could be the American Medical Association, because these folks need a doctor.
They need to get operated on. Exactly.
I'm just afraid that OnePlus has really hurt themselves, as a company. First of all, they had the sexist thing about logo somewhere on their body, and they've really had some disasters trying to get this invite system out, and I'm just they wanted you to have a video of you destroying your present phone. It kind of sounds like maybe some sort of an Apple fallacy here. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. All right, hey guys, anything else you want to add on this this OnePlus Ask Me Anything event?
1 + 1 = 0.
Only in their world.
Exactly.
It's a shame. I'm hoping they get it together. I really am. Hey guys, let's move on. This panel has been very friendly towards Chrome OS for quite a while now. And, a lot of the criticism that Chrome has gotten is, well, you can't do Microsoft on it. Well, actually, you can, okay? You might not be able to do full-blown Office, but you can do Word, Excel, and PowerPoint if you have a SkyDrive account. Plus, now Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides are all compatible with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So there you go. You've got that. But photo and video editing has been a problem on a Chromebook. And yesterday, Adobe announced that they will be bringing their cloud service, starting with Photoshop, to Chrome OS. Bruce, talk to me, brother.
Well, this was huge. I mean, because this was one of the programs, and this was one of the genre of programs that was frequently where criticism were rooted in Chromebooks. What are you going to do? And the other one is video editing, okay? And so there are some video editing things that are available. Nothing really great. We talked about those in our Tech and Coffee Hangout a while back, WeVideo, and a new one that I was trying. But when it comes to photo editing, that was a huge thing. And you won't be able to do Adobe Photoshop on there. Well, now here it comes, and I think it's a recognition of the value of the Chromebook. And if you're a photo person, and it's so easy to carry around a little 11.6-inch Chromebook out in the field, and to be able to smartphone or a tablet, so I think this is huge.
Well, it might be huge. There is a certain amount of caveats that go along with this. Not everything that Photoshop can do can be done, but the fact that you can get even some of the power of Photoshop on a Chromebook is a pretty big statement. And it really shouldn't be a big surprise, because who was the first big player to really go to cloud-based application services?
Yeah.
Adobe.
Yeah.
And so to see them step to the plate and say, hey, look, we know you love our product. We're going to make it available to you, at least in some form or fashion, on the Chromebook, is a big deal. But I understand that this first iteration is only going to be available to educational users with the cloud service licensing and that type of thing. There are also some limitations about parts of Photoshop that use GPU hardware specifics. No surprise there. But even still, it doesn't shock me to see that Adobe was the first one to really step up to the plate and bring full power, and I consider Photoshop to be very full power photo editing to the Chrome desktop, to the Chrome OS.
I know it's all cloud based, but I think there's going to be a lot of performance issues if you look at especially any Chromebook running an ARM processor. I mean, Adobe Photoshop is known that, the first thing that you do when you install Adobe Photoshop on a Windows machine or a Mac is you calibrate the color on the screen. You get all of that set up. And then, anything, once you start layering in Photoshop, you start eating into a lot of memory. And I just, I'm anxious to see how smoothly this is going to run. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited. The possibilities, but, I mean, I can tell you right now, as someone who ran Photoshop on an i3 computer, I mean, literally, I could lock that thing up in about 20 minutes of use with Photoshop. Okay, and I'm really worried about what kind of performance you're going to get on a typical Chromebook. Yeah, even though right now I've got an i3 Chromebook, listen, I'm not the norm when it comes to Chrome OS owners.
Yeah, it was interesting in the Chromebook community on Google Plus. I saw this, and so I'll just post that to the Chromebook community. Then I went over there. Man, there were already about 8 identical posts on the same article, so I deleted mine. But that just goes to say how excited the Chromebook community was to be able to even think about the potential of some of this. And I think a lot of it has to do with not only the ability to do some limited Photoshop, but also the fact that it was a recognition by Adobe that this was a legitimate platform.
Absolutely. I think it is a legitimate platform. Hey, by the way, Dan Nichols is saying, "Get out of my head, Robert Taylor. You read my mind on that one." Yeah. Hey guys, listen. It's going to be slow to come, but I think it's one more movement towards Chrome OS being a legitimate operating system for the masses, okay? Not just for schools and some businesses, but for the masses. And let's not forget that last week we were talking about running Android apps on our Chromebooks, okay? And from all indications, this is going to be an easy transition. And it's like Bruce and I have talked, I think really by the time Christmas rolls around, we'll probably reading our Kids Believe letters from Robert Taylor and enjoying Android apps on our Chromebooks.
Yep, most definitely. I think that it may take a little bit more time than that, sort of, because there are some pretty strong holdups. Microsoft is pretty dug in right now, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But you're right. We're moving quickly. We're gaining a head of steam now, and we're starting to see more and more things come out quickly for the Chromebook that shows and proves what a capable platform it is. Even though there are some limitations, like those folks who are still sitting with Chromebooks with ARM processors.
Yeah, but it is gathering steam, but that engine has been churning for a little while. I'm surprised it hasn't happened faster and sooner, to tell you the truth, because of the popularity of Chromebooks growing within the last year. So this is, everyone's it's great that, right? And I'm not taking away from that, but I'm kind of shocked that now we're getting Android apps, and now we're getting something else on it. More people are writing to it when in fact it was like the #1 selling laptop or whatever on Amazon for like 8 months ago, right? So right. Maybe a year ago. So it hasn't been that quick. Not really.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Jeff. yesterday I was curious and I went over to Amazon. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I wanted to see what the top seller laptops were. And, you know, once upon a time, you're right. I think like in the top 15, Chromebooks were like 8 of the top 15 sellers, okay? Let's see here. Wouldn't you know, when I want to see it, how did I get there? Let's see. I'll search for laptop. Let me share my desktop here. And I want to see laptop computers. And I can't even remember now how I did it. But what I was leading to is, and this might be it, Chrome OS was like in the top 20. Chrome OS was only holding about 6 of the positions. The rest was dominated by Windows machines, a couple of Macs. So Chrome doesn't seem to be at Amazon anyway, the force that it was a few months ago.
But this is the segue to what we should talk about next, about the Microsoft laptops.
Okay, well, let's get there then. Let's get there. First of all, HP announced this week. Well, actually, they announced it a while back, but they actually unveiled their $200 laptop and what it's going to look like. Along with that, they've got a $100 Windows. Okay, ready for the holiday season. What does a $200 Windows laptop look like? Well, this particular one right here is pretty colorful. Okay, I'll tell you right now, I can see, honestly, I can see my granddaughters really going for a computer like this just based upon the color of the plastic. Okay, hey, Bruce, I know that you and I talk often about the Chromebook. We talk often about bargain basement Windows devices. I want to give you first crack at this $199 HP laptop.
Well, it's interesting. I certainly wouldn't buy a hot pink or aqua blue one. If they had a black one, I might be tempted to try it. But it's really going to have a lot to do with what do they mean HP Stream? What kind of stripped down version of Windows 8 is this going to be? The processor is really not all that powerful, and obviously, I think this is, I don't know if they can get into the education market with this, because my granddaughter, she's in week 2 of the Chromebook in her school. The teachers are loving it. It's easy to manage, but even with this, you still have a Windows laptop. You still have security vulnerabilities. You have the updates and how long it takes and that sort of thing, and still people aren't all that hip on the Metro tiles. So, but yeah, I'm actually, Duke, more interested in possibly experimenting with the $99 Windows tablet for the simple reason of being able to run some business applications, not really intense applications, certainly not anything like Photoshop, but Cisco Supervisor Desktop, Cisco AnyConnect for VPNing, that sort of thing. I still like my Chromebook for everything else that I do, but it is interesting. But they're going for they're battling the Chromebooks.
Well, before we get too far, let's talk about what this thing's going to come with. It's going to come with a year-long subscription to Office 365 Personal, 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage, 60 minutes calls each month. Okay, and listen, that little 8-inch tablet is also going to give you 200 megabytes of free LTE data each month, with no contract for the life of the device. That $100 Windows tablet is going to give you, for the life of the device, 200 megabytes. I know that's not much, but hey, man, that's something for the lifetime of the device. I'm pretty impressed with that.
Not me.
Nobody else with that?
No way. I mean, you're looking at 200 megabytes of LTE data. I mean, I can blow through that in less than an hour in one afternoon.
Yeah,
I think it is a bunch of hooey. All that is a leader to get you to sign in for a contract. That does not impress me at all.
No contract for the life of the device. You get 200 megabytes
at the 200 megabytes
for the life of the device.
Which is basically, it's going to be more like SMS messaging and text messages and things like that. Which would be more than adequate for texting back and forth. On a month. That's kind of overkill. So it may be downloading as an e-reader, downloading a book once a month, things like that. That might be doable.
Hey, Robert. What is this streaming device going to look like when Microsoft ships it? What's going to be its limitations, do you think?
Well, on the laptop side of things, the colors just suck. I just I can't believe the color choices that they picked. I think that's going to be a big fail right there. If I'm looking for something for my kids, I guess that's okay. But how you make an entry into the market is not aimed at kids necessarily, not in high-end electronics. And I also wonder, we've got Windows 9 around the corner now, okay? Are these machines going to take Windows 9? Are they going to be, one of those things? Or is it a throwaway device? Now, at $199, that's kind of disposable income, but I'm not going to spend $199 this year at Christmas and then have to spend another $199 next year. It's going to leave me with a lot of questions. And I won't buy it if I'm questioning.
Yeah. The other thing that is that this is probably not a touch display, right? At that price point, and that's kind of like the driving point for Windows tiles and things like that. The ubiquitous kind of device that's going to be on your Windows phone, on your Windows tablet, or whatever. So you're not going to get that same experience going across platforms like that. So,
hey Bruce, am I going to be able to install Chrome on one of these $200 Windows things, or will Microsoft have it locked to Bing and Internet Explorer?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know, but it's interesting. I agree with Robert about this 200 megabytes thing, even though it is for life. If you look at the things they've thrown in here, that 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage. How many people are going to buy this? Are going to actually use even a fourth of that? 60 minutes of Skype calls each month. that doesn't do anything for me. And then even the 1-year subscription to Office 365, you can get a live account and do most of what you can do on an Office 365 right now for free. So I don't blame them for trying to do this. And I think the biggest thing that they could do would be to change the colors if they want people to try this.
They haven't shown me anything that makes me want to give up my Chromebook, because that's just like I say, a lot of people, and I think I might have been one of them when I first bought my Chromebook. They were looking, a cheap laptop and really didn't expect much from it. But then once they started using it, they realized there were so many advantages over traditional Windows laptops. Robert, will this thing require that we run some sort of antivirus beyond, Windows Defender?
Well, the interesting thing is that you're going to have Internet Explorer, which has huge security flaws in it. Even the most latest version, there's limitations. The other part about that, and you asked me about the antivirus, but I want to take one step back. You asked if Chrome could be installed. I will give you a perfect example of why I couldn't use this. In Louisiana, the state of Louisiana refuses to allow you to use Internet Explorer 10 or 11 on their website. You can't do it. you have to use Firefox, you have to use Chrome, or you have to use an older version of Internet Explorer. So if I've got a device that's locked down to what Microsoft's okay, and they're going to lock the browser down, then it wouldn't surprise me to see them lock down that it just runs Windows Defender or would run anything else adequately at all. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, well, actually, I like Windows Defender, so I think it's pretty efficient.
You think it's pretty efficient?
Yeah, versus, no, I'm saying versus, some other virus softwares on Windows.
No, none of them are 100%.
Norton.
I'm not taking shots at Defender. I'm taking shots about Microsoft offering. We said we can't blame them for trying. I don't think they tried hard enough. I expected more from Microsoft on this release. I expected a better than this. Not much.
Well, this isn't a Microsoft deal. This is an HP deal. This is their pricing of the product, right?
Oh, come on. It's Microsoft HP.
I don't know. I mean, they're probably discounted the licensing agreement for the OS, but I mean, how much more can they? $199. How much less can they go? I mean, seriously, $199.
This wouldn't happen without Microsoft Office 365, Skype.
Yeah. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the equipment and everything in there. What's the price?
It's not about the price. It's about the hardware that's there and what they're offering. That's what's haphazard. You're coming in with a big operating system, although this is pared down Windows 8. Okay, it's pared down, but you're still walking in and saying, "Oh, well, we've got a low-end, web, device also, and we're going to try and slap a modified version of Windows 8 on it and hope that it works okay, just like Windows RT." Come on, Jeff.
But yeah, I'm still going back to the point of what would you have to have, and what would the price point be for you to buy something other than a Chromebook? Let me put it that way.
I think it should be equivalent, at minimum, equivalent of a 720p, or 4 gigs of RAM. Give me some spec here. i3 processor.
But the other one, the one for
put it at $300. Make it reasonable, then I'll take it.
But the other one, which has 2 gigs of RAM, right, for $229, right? That has the 2 gigs of RAM on it. I don't know if you can get it with 4 gigs, but let me look at it real quick, because that's the other version, right? Where is it? The 14.
Well, I think while you're looking that up, though, Jeff, I think both of you make a good point. Regardless of specs, okay, how many, 2 gigs of RAM, 1 gig of RAM, performance is going to be key on this. Okay, if these streaming devices perform really well at a $200 price point, this is not a bad thing, and it's a whole lot better than a Scroogled campaign when it comes to attacking a Chromebook.
Oh yeah. So the other one has a 14-inch display, 1366 by 768, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, an AMD A4 processor, micro SD, and then with everything else that you get, the 100 gigabytes of one drive space. So, that's kind of interesting, right?
I think, to be fair, we'd have to have the machine in our hands to judge it. It just looks very lackluster to me. It looks like a half-hearted attempt.
Well, here's the deal, though. In all fairness, Robert, we're being pretty hard on it, and we're being pretty hard on it because in the past, we know what Windows has looked like on low-end hardware. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why we're very skeptical right now when we see a $200 full-blown Windows machine. Okay? So, yeah, let's see what it looks like. we'll be learning here probably by Thanksgiving. We'll have all the answers here. Okay. Hey guys, while we're talking about Microsoft, goodness gracious, you know, Google came out with Chromecast. Who's got a Chromecast? All right, so we got 3 of us who have a Chromecast. Bruce, how often do you use yours?
I use mine every week. Every week.
Jeff?
I probably use it 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, Bruce, back to you. Do you feel that you've gotten your money's worth out of your Chromecast priced at $35?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Jeff?
Oh, completely. I watch so many movies on this thing, it's crazy.
Man, it works. The only thing that aggravates me about mine is when I'm through casting to my TV, I normally have to find my phone or my remote control to get my TV back to the HDMI 1 channel, you know? I just
it's not automatically. That's your TV's fault for not switching over, right? So
yeah, it's not as clean as I'd like it, but it's a great device. Great device, better all the time. And here again, I think Microsoft has seen this, and here they now have introduced their own wireless display adapter that's going to beam your PC to the TV. The only problem with this Microsoft competitor to Chromecast is the price. It's about double what Chromecast cost, and I can't imagine it being twice as good. Robert, I'd like for you to weigh in here. What do you think about this device? Are you going to be picking up 3 or 4 of them?
No, not going to happen. I didn't pick up the Chromecast, okay? I decided to wait a little bit on the Chromecast to see if development was going to happen, and it has taken a little bit longer to get where I would now say, I kind of regret not having one. Now I would. When they first came out, no. This, at $70, are you kidding me? You know, how do you compare with the things like a Roku streaming stick or a Chromecast for what they can do for media? Now, again, this device steps a little bit outside and actually says, I will display whatever you have on your desktop to the screen, which makes that a little bit different. You can't quite do that with a Chromecast. Yeah, you can cast a Chrome tab, I know, but you can't just say, put my display up there.
Well, you can on the Android tablet, but yeah, but not on your PC.
Yeah, right now for what this thing is and with its limitations, good luck Microsoft for selling it. You know, I mean, the deal is if you pre-order right now, you can get it for $60. Give me a break, man. I mean, I'm sorry, this thing is.
It doesn't really see that it's going to be both audio and, you know, and I mean screen presentation and audio, because I just don't see that where it does that. You know, if you're displaying a, you know, like VLC on your PC and then you hit the charm, you know, toolbar and then say extended whatever, is it going to do both audio and video, or is it just going to do video?
Surely it's going to do audio too. I mean, Chromecast does.
It does not on the when you cast the entire screen. It doesn't do that.
Oh, okay, all right. I understand what you're saying.
Like
man.
the desktop or whatever you're doing.
Okay.
So,
well, that's a good question, Jeff. I don't know the answer to that. But I do know this. Right out of the gate, with as little support that it's got, no real third-party support, $60. Give me a break, man. That might have been a good deal before I knew what a Chromecast was.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, hey guys, let's move on real quick here. You know, Apple introduced the iOS devices. They introduced a big one and a bigger one, and reviews have been very favorable. And I really think that Apple's done a pretty good job with addressing a lot of the gaps that existed between iOS 7 and Android KitKat. However, with iOS 8 and this deployment, even though they sold 10 million devices in one weekend, it's not been a very good week for Microsoft. Or, I'm sorry, for Apple. So just to kind of recap the problems that Apple has had, first of all, we had Bengate. Now, before I throw it to you guys to get your thoughts on this, I want to quickly say I think that Bengate was very, very overhyped. Okay, That's not to say that people can't bend Apple's phones, but I am saying I think that Bengate was a little loose. I'm going to give you the first chance here. Bengate, tell me what you think, man.
Yeah, it was overdone. And I guess you're going to mention some of the other issues. I've got one that my wife brought to my attention. Yeah, the Ben thing was funny. Didn't turn out to be as many of them as possible. But, then they got crazy things like people posting with iOS 8 how you can charge your phone in the microwave. And some people actually put their phones in the microwave for 8 seconds. Just crazy stuff like that. So I think the Ben part was overhyped for sure. But there's a critical issue with the iPhone 6 that turned my wife off quickly.
Okay, really, really quick here. You mentioned the Wave. Here's what happened. If anyone hasn't heard about this, the social website 4chan, someone posted this up introducing the next big thing, Wave, an iOS 8 exclusive. What is it? Well, it's the latest and greatest addition to iOS 8. Wave allows your device to be charged wirelessly through microwave frequencies. Wave can be used to quickly charge your device's battery using any standard household microwave. Now, I could go on and read this, but here's the bottom line here. People with iOS devices saw this and went and put their telephones in microwaves and then tweeted it out showing pictures of the results, blaming either Apple or their microwaves. Some thought that there was actually something wrong with their microwave ovens to fry their phone. Okay? I don't think this happened on a wide scale. I think it happened to more than 9 people based upon the pictures that I saw.
9 seems to be the number, right? 9 phones were bent. 9 phones were burst into flames.
That's why I said 9. The other thing that didn't go too good is when 8 rolled out, there seemed to be some issues with Apple's Health Kit. And Apple rolled out an update that was 8.01 that all but bricking a lot of the Apple phones. Robert, you wanna weigh in on this one?
Well, I got to tell you, this is one of the things that, while you can say the whole Bengate thing, people sitting there bending their phones on purpose, and we all heard and saw about the video of the 4 teenagers going into the store and doing that. There are goofy people who are going to do goofy things. That happens. However, when it comes to the flopped release of iOS 8, that rests solely on Apple's shoulders. There's no excuse for it. People expect better of Apple, and that's what they tout, that it's a better experience. So now you're going to catch the flack for this, and to have had to patch it twice, not just once, but twice, to get it right, that puts a lot of egg on Apple's face.
I can't argue whatsoever.
Let me tell you about my wife. Okay, my wife had an iPhone 4, and it came time to renew, and she liked my big Note 2 and looked at the Android, played around with it, and she went for a Galaxy S4, and she likes it. It's a really nice phone. But she'd been talking, I really miss this about iPhone and blah blah blah, the way they do notifications, and I think maybe when this phone is eligible to be upgraded, I might look at going to the iPhone 6, until she saw that the iPhone 6 SAR rating is only 0.01 underneath the FCC's legal amount of radiation. If that's a concern for you, and it ought to be, there's a lot of argument about testing and stuff, but this was a deal breaker for my wife right there. She says, I will not get one of these phones because it has the highest SAR rating of any cell phone in the U.S.
That's because it's so thin. It's probably that's part of it, right? But the other thing, I don't think Bengate is over with.
You know what has the lowest SAR rating?
Galaxy.
Samsung Galaxy Note 2.
There you go. But I don't think Bengate is over with. I think they're going to still get a lot more bad press with this when they start blocking publications and people who post stuff like this in their on their major websites and stuff like that, and Apple's going to start blacklisting them. That's not a good sign. That's not how you deal with it. So I think they have some issues. Also, the other thing that the design of the 6 Plus had way too much bezel, for where the screen is. It was not a good use of real estate, and so I think they're gonna, even though they're gonna sell a ton of them, I don't think Bengate's gonna go away anytime soon. I think they're gonna get more of that, and they'll probably offer some mediocre kind of return policy if the phone's bent, that you can send it back in and replace it at one point. But I don't think it's going away. It hasn't gone away yet.
And I think it's a lot more than 9 phones.
Oh, of course
They can say 9 phones all day long, but you don't get, even with as much of a target as Apple could be, you don't get the kind of instant blow up over just 9 phones. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, it's like antenna gate, where they kind of denied it, and said, you're holding the phone wrong, versus, perhaps the next version of this will be reinforced in such a way that, you can't bend it. It's an elegant-looking phone, sort of. Again, the bezel's too big for it, in my estimation, but it's a nice-looking phone. It is nice, but it will bend.
All right. Well, hey, listen. They still sold 10 million devices. There's a lot of Apple fans out there. They said they had 9 complaints, and there probably are more than that, Robert. I will agree. But Apple has said they had 9 complaints, and as far as it blowing up like it did, there's enough Apple haters out there to where anybody who sees news like this is really going to run with it, and that's what makes things viral across the internet. So
it's akin to like GM cars, being recalled. There are people saying, we don't have to do anything with the ignition switches. There was only 10 of people, and then eventually someone, dies, and then they have to recall all the cars, right? So I
still think that the leading hashtag on this should have been Benghazi and not Bengate. I love Benghazi, man. I just think that's what it ought to have been called. Hey guys, really quick, I want to talk about one thing before we move in our app and hardware segment. First of all, we've been talking about the Shamu, which looks more and more like the Nexus. The next Nexus phone device is going to be from Motorola. It's going to basically be the new Motorola X with a 5.9-inch display. Android police are confirming that this will be called the Nexus 6 and not the Nexus X. We will know more in 2 weeks, and you can bet we'll be covering it live here, guys. pretty fired up about the new Nexus phone device coming. Hey guys, before we move into our app segment, hey, who are we? Hey, head on over to techandcoffee.info, and we hang out daily. Click on that Tech and Coffee cup on the main page. Come hang out with us, man. We'd love to meet you. Bring your favorite beverage. Let's talk tech. We got a Twitter and a Facebook account, Tech and Coffee 1. Catch our videos at YouTube. You can podcast on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. Hey, follow us on Google Plus, our favorite social network. Search for Tech and Coffee and click on that T&C logo. Questions, comments, and snide remarks, AJ at techandcoffee.info. Also, we're going to talk about some apps here, and hey, drop us a line letting us know what your favorite app was this week, and we'll drop you into a drawing. You could win some good Tech and Coffee swag, something like a Tech and Coffee coffee cup, maybe a pen or two. You never know, man. So with that said, Bruce, what do you got for us this week, man?
Okay, my app of the week is no longer in the Play Store. Let me just say that one of the things I think that's going to really make the Chromebook continue to outshine any $199 low-powered Microsoft competition is going to be the ability to run more and more Android apps on the Chromebook. So there was an app that was produced, and I actually have it on my phone, because as soon as I saw this, I said, this probably will not stay on the Play Store for long. And it's called Chrome APK Packager. Now here's an article from Android Police, and it says, now in the Play Store, of course it's not in the Play Store anymore, you won't find it there, can turn nearly any Android app into a Chrome extension. I'm going to click on these pictures here, and if you were fortunate enough to get, and I'm certain the APK is out there somewhere if you wanted to try this. But when you first open it up, you get this picture that you see on the left, welcome to Chrome APK Packager. You click Next, and then it says select from either your installed apps or select an APK from your phone storage. So I would click Installed App, and then I would go over here, and you could scroll on this center picture here, and it lists all your apps. So I actually created the package for Link 2013, Zoom.us, and Cisco AnyConnect, a VPN that works really great on my Android phone. And then you decide on this next picture, do you want it to be, is the Chrome app going to be phone mode or tablet mode, and what the orientation is you want, portrait or landscape. And then you click Next, and it actually converts, it takes the APK, strips it out, adds some other stuff, and it creates this package, which is a zip file. And then you can share that image. It puts it in a folder on your Android phone that just says Chrome APK, and you can find any that you've created there. And then all you need to do is get that to your Chromebook. I uploaded mine to Google Drive, so then I can open up my Chromebook, go to Google Drive, and what I would do then is I would find those zip files, those packages, move them into the download folder on my Chromebook, double-click them to open them up. And if you've done any of these 4 apps that, or if you tried the Skype app, which I know you did, you know how it puts it down below the download folder. Then you go into extension, Chrome : extensions, and then unpackage, and you can get it going. But anyway, this is no longer in the Chrome store, and I'm not sure why, except they probably violated some terms of service, because not all these Android apps, are ready for or supposed to be, going to Chromebooks. But, necessity is the mother of invention. But I'm like you, last week we talked about this. We're going to see gradually Android apps come, and they're going to be rock solid on the Chromebook. In the meantime, it's the wild, wild west doing stuff like this. But that's my app of the week, Chrome APK Packager. Search for the APK, and if you're brave and want to sideload it, see what you get from it.
Were you able to get Zoom to work?
I was not able to get Zoom to work. I got some kind of an error message having to do with something wrong with the manifest, and I'm not much of a developer to understand what that part of the app is.
Very good, very good. That sounds like a fun app to play with, Bruce. I hate it's not available anymore.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, what you got, man?
Well, I do have an app. Well, just to say, I try to do an app. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Let me share my screen really quick. I'm in a, this is my Nexus 10. I am trying to search for other ways I can use it, right? So, part of the thing I've been looking for is, I would love to put a USB camera on that. So I looked at something called Dash Cam that supposedly allows you to hook a USB camera to it and be able to record or show videos or whatever, record videos. And regrettably, I could not get it to work with my go back over here with my LifeCam camera because it's just not working. The power consumption on the LifeCam is too much. So I'm frantically trying to find something that will allow me to use my Nexus as a USB camera, which is would be nice, So Dashcam does not work for me, although if you have a Logitech C270, it's supposed to work. There's something else out there called USB camera trial, and that seems to be a little bit more robust. But again, when I try to type in pull up something that's not as a Logitech C230 camera, it just dies. So it just doesn't want to see it. So if anybody out there knows of a USB camera that I can hook up to my Nexus 10 and get it to work, that would be great. Because I'm looking for something. But those two things do not.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Very good. Okay, Rob, you're up, man.
Well, I got to tell you, this week I had a fun, interesting experiment with my phone. Just to remind everybody, I know I've said it 100 times, I have the Droid Max, which is the high-capacity Motorola, high battery capacity Motorola device. It is a killer phone, and I love it. However, I want my phone rooted, and I want the bootloader unlocked. Well, this last week I was able to do that. Now, this process is a little bit involved. There usually is a lot of reading. And so my app this week is not really so much as an app as it is a resource. Let me share my screen with you because this particular resource just had a recent update. And all of us have gone to XDA developers' website at one time or another. They've redone their website. It's got a new format to it. It's actually very clean, very nice, and easy to use. I used this resource all the time, but particularly this week, I wanted to get my phone where the bootloader was unlocked, it was rooted, and I was running the latest version of Android 4.4.4. And my resource for all of that information came from XDA developers. I strongly encourage you, if you want to know how to get the most out of your phone, visit xdadevelopers.com. It is truly the #1 resource. Now, before I turn it back over to you guys, I do want to show, remember I mentioned that I have the Droid Max, and that version of phone is indicated by the ID of XT1080. And so I am sharing my screen now, and you're seeing this phone, but this is not running Droid Max. A shout out to Top Snake from XDA developers. He ported the Moto X version of Android 4.4 for the Razr Max. And so if I go into settings, about phone, and I scroll down, and you can see right here, it says Android 4.4, and it does say model number Droid Max. But when I pull this phone up, any place that sees the actual model number, it says XT1060. That is the Moto X. So my Droid Max is running like the new Moto X. Super smooth, very good job on behalf of the teams of folks over at XDA developers, and especially Top Snake. So again, this week, not an app, but a resource. Go visit XDA, learn what you can do with your phone.
All right, Rob, very good, very good. Glad to hear that you got that bootloader unlocked, and hey, man, that's awesome. Hey, guys, I was going to demo my app against TeamViewer, and TeamViewer crashed on me here just now, so let me just do it this way right here. My app this week is Evernote, and you guys have probably heard me talk about Google Keep. I love Google Keep. It's simple. It's just it's about the quickest way I know to make a list, and the cool thing about it is I can make a list from my tablet, my phone, my computer. It doesn't matter. Whichever device I've made it on, all I've got to do is have another device running Android. I have access to it. But I've said all along that Google Keep works for me because it's simple. Well, Evernote is not simple, but it is very powerful. And one thing that's really cool about Evernote is you can run the Android app right now today from your Chromebook because it will run in Chrome OS. It has been it's one of the first ones that were ported into the Chrome OS format. And hey, guys, this thing is just great if you want to make personal notes, if you want to do something more complicated and actually put together little notes that are called notebooks. The real cool thing about this is you can attach sound files, you can attach photos from a camera, you can pull in files. This thing is just such a complete note-taking solution, and I'm here again. Let me stress, if you want a simple way to take notes, Google Keep really rocks. But if you need something beyond simple, check out Evernote. They do have a paid version, but I'll tell you what's the truth, the free version is so very powerful. Runs from the web, runs from your tablets. A great, great Android app. Check out Evernote. All right, man. That's going to do it for me, guys. Anybody got anything else?
Good.
All right, man. We're going to be keeping our eye out for Android L, the new Android tablet, and the new Android phone that Android police say is going to be called Nexus 6. Before we call this one episode 75, a shout out to George, Keith, and Jazz, all getting ready to descend on OggCamp. Tech and Coffee regulars, I tell you what, man, Scotland will probably never, ever be the same once those three descend upon Jazz's flat. So, hey guys, y'all have a great rest of the week. We will catch you in episode 75. Later, gang.